It was a late afternoon when little Maya, a bright 9-year-old girl, was walking home from school with her backpack bouncing against her shoulders. She loved reading, science projects, and spending time with her mom. What most people didn't know about Maya was that her mother wasn't just any parent, she was a respected federal judge, someone who had fought her way up through years of hard work and dedication. But to Maya, she was just Mom, the one who helped with homework and tucked her in at night. That day, Maya decided to take a shortcut through the park. She often went that way, and her mom trusted her to be careful. As she walked, she noticed a group of police officers near their patrol car. One of them, a tall officer with a smug look, noticed Maya walking alone and called out, "Hey, little girl, where's your mom?" Maya politely answered, "She's at work. She's a federal judge, so she's always busy with important cases." The officer burst out laughing, and the other cops chuckled too. He bent down, smirking, and said, "Oh, really? Your mom's a judge? That's a good one." Kids these days have such wild imaginations. Maya frowned. She wasn't lying. She wasn't trying to make up a story. She repeated, more firmly this time, "She is a judge." "A federal judge? She works in the big courthouse downtown?" The officer rolled his eyes, clearly amused. "Sweetheart, maybe your mom cleans the courthouse, but she's not a judge. Do you even know what a federal judge does?" His tone was condescending, filled with disbelief. The other officers started chuckling louder, whispering comments about kids making things up. Maya felt her cheeks burn with frustration. She wasn't used to adults dismissing her like this. At school, her teachers respected her and her friends believed her stories. But here, these officers acted like she was just some silly kid trying to defend her mother's honor. She stood a little taller and said, "My mom makes big decisions. People stand up when she walks into the courtroom. She tells lawyers what to do, and everyone respects her." The lead officer smirked again. "Sure, kid, maybe in your dreams. Maybe your mom tells bedtime stories, but she's not telling lawyers what to do." He turned to his partner, shaking his head, still laughing. At that moment, a black SUV pulled up near the park entrance. The doors opened, and out stepped a woman in a dark navy suit, her posture commanding, her expression sharp but calm. It was Maya's mom. She had just finished an important hearing and decided to pick Maya up instead of sending the driver. Maya's eyes lit up. She ran to her mother, hugging her tightly. The officers watched, still skeptical, until the woman looked up at them. The air seemed to shift. Her presence alone carried authority. "Is there a problem here?" she asked, her voice calm but carrying weight. The officer smirked again, still not realizing who she was. "No problem, ma'am. Your daughter here was telling us a funny story. She said her mom was a federal judge. Guess she meant you, huh?" He laughed again, expecting her to correct Maya, but instead the woman straightened, looked directly at the officer, and said, "That's because she's telling the truth. I am Judge Angela Harris, United States District Court." The laughter died instantly. The officer's grin froze on his face. His partners exchanged uneasy glances. Suddenly, the reality of the situation sank in. The very woman they had mocked was, in fact, one of the highest legal authorities in the district. Judge Harris stepped closer, her eyes narrowing slightly. "So, you find it amusing when a young girl tells the truth about her family? You laugh at a child because you assume she isn't capable of telling the truth? Or is it because you assumed a black woman couldn't hold a position of authority?" The officer stammered, his face turning red. No, Your Honor, I didn't mean—" She raised a hand, silencing him. "You did mean it. And let me tell you something, respect isn't optional. Not for me, and certainly not for my daughter. She should never have to defend her truth to anyone, especially to officers who are sworn to protect and serve." Maya clung to her mother's side, her heart swelling with pride. For the first time that day she felt heard. Judge Harris continued, her voice firm. "If you treat a child with such arrogance and disbelief, how do you treat the citizens you encounter every day? Do you listen to them, or do you dismiss them because they don't fit your assumptions?" The park had grown quiet. A few bystanders who had overheard parts of the exchange were now watching closely. The officers looked uncomfortable. Realizing they were being held accountable in public, the lead officer tried again, his tone much softer now. Your Honor, I apologize. I didn't know who you were. Judge Harris's eyes sharpened. That's exactly the problem. Respect shouldn't depend on whether you know someone's title. My daughter deserves respect as a human being, regardless of who her mother is. Every person in this community deserves that. The officer nodded quickly, clearly embarrassed. Yes, ma'am. You're absolutely right. I'm sorry. Judge Harris placed a hand on Maya's shoulder. Maya, you see, sometimes people laugh because they don't understand, but the truth always stands. You did nothing wrong. Maya smiled softly, feeling her mother's reassurance. Then Judge Harris turned back to the officers. I'll be filing a report with your department about this incident. Consider this a warning to reflect on how you treat others. The officers bowed their heads, ashamed. The once cocky laughter had vanished, replaced by an uncomfortable silence. As Judge Harris and Maya walked back to the car, Maya looked up and whispered, Mom, I'm glad you came. Her mother smiled warmly. I'll always come, Maya, and remember, you never need to be afraid of speaking the truth. Even if people laugh, even if they don't believe you, the truth will always find its way. The black SUV drove off, leaving the officers in stunned silence and leaving everyone who had witnessed the moment with a powerful lesson. The next day, word spread quickly through the community about what had happened. Many praised Judge Harris not only for her authority, but also for standing up for her daughter and teaching the officers and everyone else watching a vital lesson about respect, dignity, and truth. Mia walked into school the next morning with her head held high. Her classmates gathered around, curious about what had happened. For the first time, she told the story not with frustration, but with pride. She realized that her mother's role wasn't just about courtrooms and cases. It was about showing strength in the face of doubt and injustice, and from that day forward, Maya carried that strength with her. No laugh, no doubt, and no dismissive words could ever shake her belief in the truth or in herself.